Stocks our strategists feel are poised to deliver positive returns are featured now in their top stock picks of the week.
We're going to focus on two companies this time around that are industry leaders in their respective industries with our strategists Kevin Cook and Nina Mishra. And Kevin, we're going to start with you because you've got a company here that's in the news quite a bit, NVIDIA.
Yeah, all about artificial intelligence and just they make a chip called a GPU that they invented in 1999. It's the graphic processing unit, and it creates something called massively parallel architecture to run a lot of calculations at the same time instead of just having a core processor like Intel where everything's got to go in a straight line. So the company's obviously hot in the gaming industry. That's still about half their revenues, but they're becoming much bigger in the cloud space to take big data and crunch it, analyze it, and that sort of thing. If you take a look at my screen here, they just had a big conference in Europe. They call it the GTC Conference, and they do this about twice a year. It stands for GPU Tech Conference. And I just want to show you how they look at the future of AI computing here. This is a great chart that they make where this is Moore's Law, the blue line, sort of leveling off, right? Chips get smaller and smaller. But what they say that the GPU chips are able to do is it's going to create another 1,000-fold increase in power and efficiency from computing. So they're just doing amazing things there. When I look at, so how's the company going to grow? It's trading at 50 times, right? 50 times forward earnings. And, if you're going to buy it here, you better be a long-term investor, not looking for a short-term trade. So where's the growth going to come from besides gaming? Well, in the cloud, most banks think that they're growing that area at 50% compound annual growth. SunTrust thinks they're growing it at 71% CAGR. So if they're going to be able to go into that space in the next 4 years, they did $800 million in 2016. If you grow at 71% compound annual growth for 4 years out to 2020, that would take the revenue in that space to $7 billion. So that's the revenue lever that they have with big data and machine learning. Cool. So you hear these terms all the time: machine learning, deep learning, and these are the next iterations of artificial intelligence. One way to think about it is they finally can train a computer to beat a professional poker player. Now, at first, poker was infinitely complex for a computer. Like Deep Blue can beat, any chess player, right? Because it's just brute force computing. But with poker, you don't know the other person's hand. So when they first started out trying to play Texas Hold'em with limits, it took brute force computing, and you're talking about variables like 10 to the 14th power. But when they go to play no limit Hold'em against professional players, it's like 10 to the 160th. So there's no more brute force there because there's too many calculations. So what machine learning and deep learning do is AI teaches itself to make an intuitive decision, an inference. So the applications, I'm using poker as an example, but the applications for healthcare and any kind of systems management or complexity management are just through the roof. And that's why you have analysts finally setting price targets at $250 for NVIDIA, and I think it'll be there a year from now.
So technically, is this a semiconductor company?
It is, but it's a very specialized one, and it's leading the charge here. Now, there's going to be other competition. Once people figure out these are the chips that they should be making, Google could buy a small company that's making them themselves, and Google could become the next competitor to NVIDIA instead of Intel.
Sure. Okay. Very interesting stuff. Nina, semiconductor stocks have been probably among the best performing so far this year. You have another company here that falls into that category. Again, a little different part of that industry, Applied Materials.
Yeah, so another hot stock. And as you mentioned, semiconductor stocks have been really hot this year. The broad semiconductor index is up about more than 35% this year. And even within that group, these chip equipment makers are among the hottest. Two major players in this space, Applied Materials and Lam Research. They are up more than 65% and 75% respectively this year. Applied Materials has been one of the leaders for the past more than 20 years.
Yeah.
They supply equipment which is used to make semiconductor chips and display screens. Now the company reported excellent results for its recent quarter, and if you go to the detailed estimates page, you can see that analysts have been really bullish on the company. They have been raising the estimates, which send the stock to a Zacks rank #1. And in fact, if you go to their price consensus and EPS surprise chart, it's a beautiful chart. They have missed only once in the last 5 years.
So did I read correctly that they turned in their best quarter in the company's 50-year history?
50 years. This was their best quarter in 50 years. And recently they held their analyst day, and they provided very bullish guidance through fiscal 2020.
Wow.
Because there are so many growth drivers. Some of them Kevin mentioned: artificial intelligence, virtual reality, self-driving cars, data centers, Internet of Things. And another new area of growth for this company is OLED display technologies. You know, those displays, those screens are now being used in all the latest smart TVs and smartphones, including the latest iPhone. So there are so many growth drivers that suggest that this outperformance could continue going forward too. And it's a Zacks rank #1 stock, and the industry rank is also in the top 2% currently.
This is like one of the chip makers that all the other chip makers need
yes, exactly.
to buy equipment from.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff all the way around. Do either of you own either of these companies?
I own NVIDIA, yes.
I own NVIDIA in my personal portfolio.
Okay. Thank you both for that. Don't forget, you can always check out more stock information on our website, Zacks.com. All you have to do is get on over to the homepage, and there you will be able to start reviewing stock picks, stock picking strategies, and more. Zacks.com, always open for your review. With Kevin and Nina, I'm Terry Ruffalo.